Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Still haven't came up with what I want to say. It's just such a habit now that I say it. I mean, before it just became a habit. Oh, hold on, my light's falling. 1 second. I was wondering why everything looked different. The lights were a little bit different. Okay, I think we're good. Anyway, yeah, it started off where that's just what I said, and then it became a thing because I said it every time, not even realizing it. Then it became a thing where it was like I had to say it almost. So I don't know. What a piece. No, that's not me. My style is more like, I guess that is my style. Like, hey guys, what up? What's up? It's like messing around. Anyway, how you doing? Hi. Just sitting here in the snow. It's freezing, guys. I just had to be cool background to make a video for you guys out in the beautiful snow. Isn't it beautiful? It's freezing, but I wanted to make the intro out here. I can't even go along with it like it's real. It is real. Yeah, no, wait, I'm out in the snow. I really am. It's cold out here, guys. What's the temperature out? What's the temperature where you guys are? Alright, I'm going to get into the video. Okay, so I am going to do a group of videos taken from my last live, reading that very long incident report. It's very informative, it's very interesting, and I think it's important enough to break it down into groups and organize and make them like into more like shorter, more digestible videos for you guys, because it is important. And if anybody was following this case and is interested in this case, I feel like you need to see these videos or this incident report. But like I said, I'm going to try to break it down and make it as easy for you as possible. Okay, so I just wanted to show you everybody so you could kind of have a mental image as we go through these documents and talk about it so you know who's who. So we got Paul and Shanda right there. So right here is Timothy. He's the victim in this case. And Paul, he is his brother who got charged and was one of the responsible parties to Timothy's death. And then we have Shanda. Here's the other horrible monster that's responsible. Here's Paul. Just so you can kind of get a few pictures in your head as we're talking about these people, you know who is who. Here is the person that was on trial and got convicted for the murder of her son. There she is again. Here's a good picture of all of them. You have Timothy, Paul, Millie. These are all three, and him, Eric. So those are all four Shonda's kids. The rest are the step kids. So they're step brothers and sisters. These two go and live with their mom. And here's Paul and G. You'll actually hear one of G's statements. Not in this video, but it will be an upload. And then when you hear about the dad, here's Eric. This is their biological dad. This is Trisha. You'll see her in documents. And that's their stepmom. So when you see Patricia or Trish, that's who they're talking about. Hopefully you guys will be able to put a face to all the people that are going to be in these upcoming videos that we're going to be talking about. There's a picture of all of them. Shonda's right there. A while ago. Another one of the four kids without G. So this is Timothy, the victim in this case. Paul, he's one of the perpetrators, and then these two weren't living with her at that time. So she loses her kids in 2011, which I'll talk about later on in this video, but she loses custody. They are all four placed with the father, which I'm learning that it might not have been the greatest with the father too. So what is going on? They really failed these kids, like tremendously. Interview, Chelsea Calloway. Chelsea is Blank's older half-sister. They share the same father, Eric Ferguson. Oh, so Shonda's not the mother then, obviously. It's just the same father. Okay. Chelsea called NSPD requesting to speak with somebody about her brother. Timothy's older, full sister, Millie Ferguson, was also present with Chelsea, and they spoke with me over a speakerphone. They said Shanda had called Nolan Ferguson, her eldest son, and told him Timothy had passed away in his sleep. Nolan then informed the rest of the family. They tried to call Shanda to find out what happened, but at that point her phone had been seized by NSPD, which is why Chelsea and Millie were calling with questions. I answered questions they had to the best of my ability. They also explained to me their family dynamic. Chelsea said her mother, Patricia Ferguson, is Timothy's stepmother. Patricia raised Timothy from the time he was 2 years old up until last May of 2021, when he moved in with Shonda. Chelsea said Timothy is severely autistic, but high-functioning. He could take care of himself, but did not like being touched, talked to, or loud noises. His parents had to put a lock on his closet door because he would go in there and urinate. He did that because he was scared of the bathroom, especially at night. Timothy was unable to understand simple concepts. If you tried to explain to him why he couldn't do something, he wouldn't understand. He would eat excessively, but didn't understand why it would make him sick. To manage these behaviors at home, Timothy was in therapy. His parents received help from psychiatrists and from school. They also had house rules and reward system. There were never any restrictions on Timothy eating or him getting snacks. Patricia went above and beyond for Timothy, really trying to help him. Eric was not in the picture because he worked all the time and would not help Patricia. Near the end of Timothy's time with Patricia, she went to Eric and said she needed help. She was getting overwhelmed and depressed. Eric's solution was to send Timothy to live with Shonda. I then asked Chelsea if there was anything else she thought I should know. She said she doesn't know how involved Paul was in this situation, but he is the biggest bully she has ever met in her life, and he found genuine joy out of tormenting Timothy whenever possible. Wow. She fully believes that if Paul was involved in this, that he was fully complicit on his part. She does not think Paul was forced or coerced. He was questionable before he moved in with Shonda. Paul moved in with them at the same time Timothy did. He moved out when he was 18 and moved in with Shonda. Wait, that's not true, though, because Paul moved in a year before Timothy. Because he did not want to be an adult. Oh, it says he moved out when he was 18 and moved in with Shonda because he did not want to be an adult. He wanted everyone to take care of him, and that's what Shonda did. Chelsea said Paul is not autistic. She said they were going to diagnose him as a psychopath, but couldn't because he was underage. Dang it, dude. This is giving me a different view on him now. Wow. Wow. What are you guys thinking of that? What the heck? I wanted to show you guys because there was a comment and I never responded to the comments about, oh, I didn't know you had to wait till you're 18 to be diagnosed as a psychopath. That is accurate. Yes, you do. Okay. So I found a couple little articles. A psychologist recognized psychopathy only as an adult disorder, and as a rule, don't diagnose young children. Fear, stigma, and misunderstanding around the label means psychologists instead diagnose and treat kids for irrelevant issues like anxiety or ADHD can actually make things worse. So that could be like a topic we could discuss sometime, though, to be honest, like how you feel about that, because you can't diagnose, the rule is you can't diagnose somebody as a psychopath until they're 18, but there's people like saying that if you catch it early, that you could actually get a leg up on it, basically. Instead, they're being diagnosed with all these other things when it might not even be what the issue is. It says, but the tide against psychopathy treatment is beginning to turn, for kids in particular. The latest theory of some experts is that the best way to treat psychopathy is to identify the characteristic traits in children and adolescents before the burgeoning issues become a full-fledged problem. Well, a full-blown problem, sorry. This means prescribing children and their parents with a taxing combination of emerging therapies and confronting the difficult possibility that the child will grow up to develop psychopathy, but the potential trade-off is that catching the issue early could save countless lives and billions of dollars in incarceration costs. But it does also say that the word emerging is key here, because treatments available in their infancy and randomized trials are difficult to conduct in prison settings, where much of the research of psychopathy takes place. But the research is promising and shows that with foresight, care, and considerable patience, a more peaceful life for people with psychopathy, their families, and their communities is possible. But if you go back, you will see, like if you just type it in, you'll see, according to evidence-based research as well as the criteria of the DSM-5, 18 years of age is the official age at which psychopathy is diagnosable. Although sociopathy and psychopathy cannot be diagnosed until someone is 18, one of the hallmarks of both conditions is that they usually begin in childhood or early adolescence. Usually the symptoms appear before the age of 15, and sometimes they are present early in childhood. So even though they're present, they can't be actually officially diagnosed until 18 because it's in the DSM. So that's what, I believe what Chelsea was saying. Psychologists recognize psychopathy only as an adult disorder and as a rule don't diagnose young children. Fear, stigma, and misunderstanding around the label means psychologists instead diagnose and treat kids for irrelevant issues like anxiety or ADHD, which can actually make things worse. So it looks like even though that is a rule, it's not necessarily the best rule. Maybe we should start doing things different. But I would fear though if they start diagnosing them as kids, then if they're wrong, you know what I'm saying? And then they're going to have the stigma attached to it. They're going to be treated different. They're going to be looked at different. They might be feared. It could, I don't know. I guess I feel like it could go either way. I see why that it's dangerous to treat these kids for something else and they might have this, they might be a psychopath, but I could also see the harm in diagnosing early, in misdiagnosing, or even if it isn't a misdiagnose, but giving like a stigma around it, a fear, parents maybe even fearing, you know what I'm saying? So I could see both ways, but right now, yeah. In the DSM, you can't do it till you're 18. It's an adult disorder. Okay, I just wanted to share that with you. Chelsea said Eric had a vasectomy. Oh, I hate when that comes up. When he and Shonda were together in Oklahoma. When CPS removed the children from Shonda's custody, Shonda went to Eric and tried to convince him to reverse the vasectomy so they could just have more kids. When Eric denied it, Shonda told her children they better get used to where they were because they were never coming home. Am I in a different universe? How can somebody be this horrible and awful of a human? Like, her answer to her getting her kids taken away is, let's have more kids. Let's have more kids so we could ruin them and then just keep pushing them off to somebody else. It's somebody else's problem. Let other people take care of it. Let's just have some more. Hey, they've taken it away. Let's get some more. Let's make some more. Oh, they take them away? Let's just make some more. Let's go ahead and ruin a bunch of kids' lives. Let's go ahead and just mess up these poor kids' lives. Yeah, that sounds like a really good idea, Shonda. Man, genius. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know. I don't know how somebody could be this horrible and awful of a person. It boggles my mind. Does this woman really exist? I don't get it. Anyway. To this day, Shonda has never completed her counseling to get her parental rights back in the state of Oklahoma. I asked Chelsea about Shonda's parenting growing up. She said Shonda was not there. She was not an active parent. Nolan took care of all the children. Shonda sat on the couch writing sex books. When Chelsea was blank years old, Shonda gave her a book about how she liked to be spanked as a kid. What? Dude. Yeah, I'm just reading today. I don't have energy. What's up, Jay? I don't got it in me today. But hey, I'll be drained after this. But dang it, dude. This is like it makes me wonder because we were looking, where were we? Was that last live where they were saying no, that was just this live. Sorry, my God, where they were saying that she was inappropriate with her kids, hugged him too much and sexual stuff. Wow, dude. So she's freaking not an active parent. Nolan, the oldest son, takes care of them all. Writing sex books, and I guess one of them was that she liked to be spanked as a kid. Oh my Lord. And then the whole thing with Paul being a psychopath and being a bully. So screw that, dude. No. Now I'm like I said, remember, I go back and forth with Paul. At first I said, dude, life. Like, no, he doesn't. He's just as bad. And then I went through his social media, and I'm like, okay, maybe, maybe not. I mean, I still wanted him punished, but now I'm going back toward the other side. Like, no, he needs to get like 30 years, maybe. Because I just want to know, was he more like wanting to do it than what he's saying now, like, oh, it's my mom. Well, seeing that interview makes me feel like he wasn't scared. Or they asked her, were you scared of her? What do you think if you would have said no to her, what would she have done? He acted like he had no fear of her at all.
Would there be any sort of consequence for your mom if you slipped up with her attitude-wise, or how would that work?
There were times when I would cop an attitude that was unnecessary, and she would have me get off devices for maybe 15 minutes, because usually that was what it was revolved around, because I'll be honest, I have an addiction to my devices.
Okay.
It's not something I can really do without, I guess. I don't know. I never had very much of that back in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
My dad was strict. He didn't even give me a phone. My sister and my stepsister had phones before I did. And that was due to the fact that he could not raise a male.
Right.
Which, I mean, that still could be a manipulation. It doesn't mean that he didn't. But now that I'm seeing he's a bully, and possibly they thought he could be diagnosed as a psychopath, but he was too, when he got of age, dude, that makes me think, yeah, I'm changing my mind on the whole 10 years. I think maybe more, but let's see what else we got here. Okay, so this is the third try is a charm. So the first time I had a big black thing on my nose. I still don't know what it was. I had to like scratch off. The second time I forgot to do video. I just did audio. So this time we're going to get her done. Okay, so what I was trying to say two times before this is, if you're wondering why I'm not reading the whole statement on these next couple ones, it's because this video I'm just trying to kind of combine stuff about Paul and about the thing that we learned about him, about the SA charges, and about how he was a big bully and stuff like that. So I'm trying to try to focus this on Paul's stuff. So that's why these statements are mainly about Timothy, but then it will say something about Paul. So I'm just including the Paul stuff in this video, but all these statements are all on my last live if you're interested. And if it's too much and too long, and you could wait, because I am going to actually cut them up and upload them in groups. So for instance, I'm going to do Shonda's coworker statements together, Timothy's teacher statements together. So these will be uploaded again, more organized, in full, coming up. So if you want to wait, or depends how you want to do. If you want to go watch my live, or you want to wait till when I do it. Hopefully this week I'll be able to get them all done. But yeah, this one is focusing on Paul. So yeah, here we go. Try this. I hope everything worked out. Did I press play? Yeah. It's oh my God, I forget to press record. Should be good. Okay, so I received a phone call from Jean Ellen Shelley regarding information on blank. Jean advised she was Timothy's 6th and 7th grade special education teacher in Oklahoma City. Jean advised Timothy was a sweet boy who craved attention. Jean advised she was told that DHS in Oklahoma had investigated a SA case involving Paul and Timothy. So it was Paul? Because remember they said 2 children. There was a SA case involving 2 of their children. They never named which 2, but this one's saying Paul. I mean, it makes sense now. Paul and Timothy. When Timothy was in elementary school, Paul was not have contact with Timothy as he was the alleged offender. Wow. I mean, you guys see what this is saying. So this is a SA case where Paul is the offender, and I think Timothy's the victim. I have it blanked. It was one of his siblings. Wow. My opinion on Paul is slowly going down, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, maybe life for you, Paul, because you might be a repeater. I might have been so wrong about him, guys. I was I don't think he'll be a repeat offender. Now reading this, I think he would. I think he freaking would. Anyway, so he was not to have any contact with, probably, I'm guessing, Timothy, right? So he's not even supposed to have contact with him, and he's living with him. July 11th, I generated a leap warrant request on Paul for murder, CA first. I obtained a CCH for prosecutor review. So July 11th is when he got a warrant for Paul for murder, or requested a warrant. I made contact with Neil Hoekstra at NSPD as he requested to speak with the detective regarding Paul Ferguson. Neil advised he resides at blank. Neil advised he had never seen blank or blank. outside the residence, nor did have any interaction with Shonda. Neil advised Shonda and her family moved into the residence about 2 years ago. Neil advised he had one interaction with Paul that he could recall. Neil advised Paul seemed weird and did not have any borders. Neil advised when he and neighbor were outside talking, Paul walked up to them and took the puppy the neighbor was holding out of her hands without asking. Neil told me he and other neighbors were concerned about Paul and questioned if Paul is mentally capable of being at the residence alone. I assured Neil that Paul was deemed capable to be alone in the home by APS. I advised Paul to contact NSPD with any additional information or concerns. I spoke to Debbie Sisk via text as she requested I contact her regarding Timothy. Debbie advised she was friends with Trish, but had lost touch with her as of 2014. Wonder what was up in 2014? Everybody's losing touch with him in 2014. Debbie advised Trish reached out to her via text on 7/8 to talk to her. So this would have been 2 days after he died. Debbie said she thinks Trish reached out to her for advice as Debbie used to work for a bail bond in Oklahoma. Debbie sent Trish a text stating she would not be surprised if Eric was charged with something, as he knew Shonda was not supposed to have contact with Timothy. Man, remember we were talking about that, if he was going to be charged? Because if he knew that she wasn't supposed to have contact, yet he sent his minor kid to her? Trish responded by saying, and Paul for participating. Trish's text stated that if Shonda told Paul not to feed Timothy, Paul would not feed him. If Shonda told Paul to lock Timothy in a closet, Paul would lock Timothy in the closet. Debbie told me before Timothy went to live with Shonda in Michigan, Trish told Eric she needed help with Timothy. Shortly after that, Timothy was sent to Michigan. Debbie sent me a screenshot of text messages between her and Trish, which are attached to the RMS report. I received a phone call from Catherine Ash regarding information on Timothy. Catherine told me she was a teacher at Heartland Middle School when Timothy was a student from grade 6 to 8. Catherine advised she believes if Timothy was incontinent, it was a response to trauma. Dude, that just brings me back to what Paul... If Paul's SA'd him, that's one of the signs for SA abuse is incontinence. So, like, are you kidding me? I wonder if that's from what Paul did to him. Dang it. Catherine advised she had heard there was a history of physical abuse between Paul and Timothy, where Timothy was the potential victim. Right there again. I spoke with Kendra Kim via text regarding information on, I'm guessing, Timothy. Kendra told me she was a school psychologist in the elementary school Timothy attended in Oklahoma. Kendra advised in 2011, when Timothy was in first grade, his brother Paul was placed in another elementary building. Kendra advised it was alluded that Paul may have been SAing him. Dang it. Kendra advised Paul also did not attend the same middle school as Timothy. Kendra told Timothy and Paul did attend the same high school. So wait, Paul is how much older? He's about, like, wait. What, he's like 4 or 5 years older than him? I'll have to look at their dates of birth. So that means in first grade, how old would you be? Because I'm trying to figure out when this started, because if they're saying when Timothy was in first grade, well, it says 2011, and Paul was already doing that. Paul was pretty young too. I want to figure out how old he was when it at least it already had happened. Wow. So that means he was like around 9 years old. And dang it, because think about this. If Timothy was in first grade and this had already happened, because look, that means it happened sometimes before that. So I don't know how much before, but it says in 2011, when Timothy was in first grade, his brother Paul was placed in another building because of this SA charge, right? So he was like 9 or younger when he did this SA charge to Timothy. So that definitely is a work of repeating something. You know what I'm saying? Like a repeat, something he learned. And I mean, being 9 years old, where is he learning it from? So that makes me wonder who, there always is a possibility he learned it from online and he's just a psychopath and he got these urges online. But more probable is that somebody did it to him. That's more likely. It's not always. It's more, most of the time it is, but there's always cases where it's not. I mean, there are, but being that young, it makes me think that him already acting like that young, that it probably was something he learned from experience, personal. So who did it to him? His mom moved out when, I mean, his mom was with him for, wasn't it like wasn't she with him for like the first 8 years of his life, right? Wait, when did they, yeah. I bet you it was his mom, dude. I found the documents that we read on wow, I feel like that was like a month ago or so. So we see, so here is an exit order. So on January 19th, 2012, the following appearances were made and the proceedings held. It has all the 4 kids and Eric and Shonda, but it says reports from the Oklahoma Department of Human Services dated or created recommending placement with father Paul and Eric Nolan, February 9th, 2011, Timothy, April 2011, and Millie, April 2011. So 2011, I think, is when she left, right? They got a divorce in 2010, and I think she didn't leave the house and away from her kids where the kids were placed with the father in 2011. So, in 2011, it very well could have been that Paul learned it from his mother. Because she didn't leave. She raised him. Basically, he was under her household and her care until 2011, which would make him 9 years old, we see that by 2011, like it says in what I'm reading, like it says, by 2011, that SA charge of Paul against Timothy had already happened. She had 9 years. Well, he was born in 2002. She leaves in 2011. She has 9 years to essay him learning that behavior, and him acting it out on his brother. Just like we saw with the Menendez brothers. Ring a bell? Remember the Menendez brothers? The older one did it to the younger one at a young age, I think. I forget how old he was, but he was young. He was a boy, because he learned it from his father. It happens. And usually if they're that young and they're already the perpetrator that young, that they learned it from somebody. You know what I'm saying? They got it done to themselves. And I think it was freaking her. She makes me sick. Anyway, all right, let's get back. I mean, the way that they're describing how his mom is like inappropriate with their kids, like sexually inappropriate, that makes me wonder if it was his mom doing it to him. And then he's repeating it. And it's not an excuse, guys. I'm not giving him an excuse, but we're trying to understand what made a 9-year-old or younger do something like that to his younger brother and even know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? And to be aware of that young, it makes me think, wow. All right. Where are we at? Kendra advised Paul also did not attend the same middle school, but they did attend the same high school. Kendra described Timothy as a precocious little guy, sweet, caring, hungry, and amazing. Hungry. Kendra advised Timothy would attend school in clothes that were several sizes too big and dirty. He would urinate in his pants, even in middle school. She believes the bladder accidents were a result of the alleged SA. Yeah, you're right, Kendra. I'm sure you're right. That is definitely a symptom of SA. Try to stay warm, guys. I hope you guys are staying warm. It is like cold all the way around this country. I don't know about in other countries what's going on, but I know our country there's a lot of people getting a lot of snow and a lot of like freezing weather. It's so cold, the wind chilled, but actually it was a little warmer today than yesterday, but dang it. And then the snow, I love it, but I'm glad I don't have to go out in it. When you have to go out in it, that's when it sucks, but I like making videos in it. I could take cold weather. I'm always hot, so this is great for me. But you guys, hopefully you guys all stay warm and cozy. All right, guys, bye. Have a good night. I'm going to be getting a bunch more of these videos out. So like I said, they're clips from my live, but I'm adding a little bit of something to them. Hopefully it made it a little bit easier to kind of digest, or hopefully it will. This video is over. I hope you learned something. This document's so interesting to me. I feel like I've learned so much, so I'm breaking it up into little parts for y'all and some little details in there, and different things, but yeah, conclusion, Paul might be a psychopath, and he's a big bully, and might have been SA'd, and I'm sure he was at least CA'd growing up by Shonda. Looks like maybe even by his dad. But SA'd, I'm thinking maybe by his mom. The next video I think I'm going to upload is his take on it. Like, I don't know if I should do it separate because he has 3 different interviews or statements, and you could kind of see him progress as far as, like, you know, slowly admitting more stuff. I was just going to do it the one where he actually basically admitted stuff, but maybe I should do all 3 of them back to back so you could see the progression. Anyway, I'll decide. That's for me to decide and you to watch. Bye.